To be entrepreneur, I would say it's be a dreamer, be a achiever. And to get from dreamer to achiever is where you fill in the gaps. Hard work, work ethics, stay focused.
Ramola Motwani has achieved many of her dreams, but it's been a hard-fought journey, one that began across the world.
At that time, India-Pakistan was one country and it was divided into two countries. My parents moved. They left behind their success. We had cinema business. My grandfather was a royal man. He had a title and everything was left behind. And they just came to India with their family.
Ramola's father rolled up his sleeves and built a new life for them all, eventually making his way back into the cinema industry. Ramola watched and learned, not yet knowing how meaningful this lesson would prove to be. Ramola obtained her bachelor's degree in economics.
I met my husband, love of my life. We were only 16. We were both in college. He came to US to do MBA, his master's, and I stayed back and did my law there. We would write every single day.
Ramola and Bob started their new lives in St. Charles, Missouri, where they married. Bob had set up his own business, and Ramola was his partner in every way.
That's how my journey started. He was in import-export business. We had retail, wholesale, in gift items.
Ramola and her husband flourished in Missouri, doubling the size of their business and their family. They now had 2 sons. Bob and Ramola then ventured into real estate, purchasing apartment units. Things were going well for the hard-working couple, but on a trip to Fort Lauderdale in 1986 to visit family, Ramola and Bob began to consider a bold move.
My husband was diagnosed with scleroderma. The doctors asked was that he should stay away from cold. So when we came here, I said, this will be the best option.
In just 10 days, they made the decision to purchase the Merrimack, a beachfront hotel that would enable them to capitalize on the city's booming spring break economy.
And everyone raved about spring break and said the market is so great, you make a lot of money from Christmas to Easter. So we get here, get the rooms ready, we are all excited, and then city of Fort Lauderdale decided they did not want spring break. So here we are, made a huge move in our life, young family, and the business was completely killed with no backup plans.
But Ramola and Bob were survivors. They cut costs and went to work, making a new life for their family in the hotel business. There were extreme challenges.
There was drugs, prostitution, every corner of the street. There was no business. It was really not safe. All the businesses, from Sunrise to Las Olas, they started packing up.
But while all the others were abandoning their properties, the Motwanis dug in, determined to be part of the solution.
We were the only survivors that stayed back, but we had a vision, like this is oceanfront, it's not going anywhere. And Bob became very active in the city, very vocal. While he was doing that, I was running the operations, business operations, family operations.
My parents were working all the time, nonstop. On the first apartment that we actually had a door connected to the front desk. I remember vividly playing video games and having to pause it to run outside and check somebody in.
One of the things that was always important to my mom was balance. We always had a home-cooked meal. Meanwhile, they were working 16, 18-hour days, 7 days a week. So she just showed us that, while as busy as you are, you need to make time for family. You need to make time for the community.
Bob and Ramola were entrepreneurs with a long-term vision. They began to buy up other properties on their block of the beach.
We were paying attention to what the investors were talking about. So if the future was to bring high-rise developments to the destination, we needed some assemblage. Bob worked with the city. At that time, George Henbury was our city manager. Bob and him, They always worked together, and Bob was very instrumental with the city. He was interviewed every week on the TV.
Things were looking better. They had assembled a block. Ramola and Bob then began on a second block. But Ramola was about to face her life's greatest challenge when a brain hemorrhage took her beloved husband in the night.
We bought Tropique Hotel on October 13th, 1994, and I lost him on November 2nd. And my tough journey really began. I have 2 teenage boys, obligations, and I was without him. The toughest part was putting myself together without him. And as I was doing it, world doesn't stop. Challenges don't stop. As soon I realized the financial side of it.
They were a great team, and you really didn't know who was doing what. It just worked. And when it was just her, and then she was playing businesswoman as well as mother, I think it really hit home as to just how talented and hardworking she was.
I was given just few months to refinance, to pay off millions of dollars. I had never done this because Bob did that part of the business. You know how many banks I knocked the doors on? 26 banks.
But in less than 6 months, she got her financing.
I knew one architect, and I just walked to in his office. I said, this is what I have. Look at the plans, and I want to get this built. I went to George Hanbury's office in the city, and I said, George, I want to know the process.
Ramola began getting onto boards, making her voice heard on behalf of the whole tourism industry. Her plans were coming along. Next step, present to the commission.
I said, Mayor, Nagal, do I need attorney for this? He said, you don't need one. I think this was the only project that was presented by the owner, and commission passed it unanimously.
She was able to get the Merrimack Gold Coast site entitled without a land use attorney, something I can't even do today.
But it didn't happen overnight. It took years.
I got approvals in 2001. It was done. This was the only block on the beach that had entitlements, that was shovel ready, and it was only one owner block.
The developers came calling, more than 100, but Ramola, always with a greater vision for the entire beach community, didn't rest with that success.
Simultaneously, we were part of progressing the beach. It was not just progress in our business, whether it was with CVB, whether it was with Chamber, with all the entities, Hotel Motel Association. We were very, very proactive. I traveled to London World Market. I traveled with CVB to ITB Berlin.
The vision that Ramola and Bob dreamed of is a reality. The beach is back, the tourists are back, and the hotel and luxury brands now stand in grandeur. On those blocks where Ramola and her family made their home in 1986, now stands the Ocean Resort Residences, managed by Conrad Resorts, Hilton's luxury brand. Slated to open next, the Four Seasons, just a block south.
When my father passed, most people thought she was just going to fold up. She found a way to persevere. We're sitting here in the Four Seasons Sales Center as a result of that hard work and dedication.
To date, Ramola has operated over 12 hotels. She's also a major force in the hospitality industry, promoting education and opportunity. Ramola now runs her company, Merrimack Ventures, with her sons by her side, each having returned to join her after receiving impressive educations, followed by careers on Wall Street.
I'm most proud of my children. They are my real treasure. They are smart, highly qualified, educated, but more than anything else, they are community-minded. We are one family, one business as Merrimack Ventures. They have also branched out to many of their own ventures, and I'm very proud of them. It is very rewarding to see that happen in your own lifetime.
My mom is an amazing person. What she's done to carry on that legacy, is absolutely, in my mind, a tremendous achievement. I'm honored to have her as a mom. And my boss. I can't imagine having a better mother and mentor.
She loves this community, and I think the fact that NSU has chosen to honor with this award, our family truly appreciates it. I know she certainly does, and we're excited to be here today.
It has been a tremendous journey, being part of the whole Renaissance and on the beach. And if my husband, who is always watching, and if he were to be here, he would be very proud to see that his dream, that we shared that dream together, has become a reality.
2015 Entrepreneur Hall of Fame honoree, Ramola Motwani.